Hey everybody, Black Ninja 797 here, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be once again ranking some more items in Left 4 Dead 2. The last two videos that we have done for the ranked the Special Infected and also the Survivors, you guys killed it with the light gold I was asking for, which thank you, I appreciate it. And I was hoping that before the video does begin, I do want to end up mentioning the like thing right away. Don't get the wrong idea when I say this, but it's just the YouTube algorithm basically making me do this. I hope you guys know I have a good heart when I say this. But if there's by any chance that we could try to hit around the same like goal, maybe and possibly a little bit higher by like one more like, so instead of 4, if we can get 5, that'd be very much appreciated. I believe we can do it. I really think we can. So if you guys could do that for me, that would be forever grateful. But anyways, guys, yeah, so basically what we're going to be doing is we are going to be now ranking all of the weapons in the Left 4 Dead series. This is going to include the secondaries, this is going to include the melee weapons, this is going to include all primaries, all special weapons, etc, etc. So we're going to be beginning with basically pretty much all the beginner stuff, and then eventually we're going to be moving on to the more advanced stuff. And this does include the new guns, by the way. This will include all the old ones and then all the new ones that have been added in with the Left 4 Dead Last Stand updates. So yeah, guys, once again, if you just happen to end up enjoying today's video, please end up dropping a like. And let me know if you want to see more videos like this. And just in general, let me know what Left 4 Dead ranking video you want to see next. But anyways, guys, let's begin with the very first weapon. So coming in at the #1 spot, this is just going to be the default pistols. Now, this does include the dual-wield version, by the way, because the pistols technically do have, I guess you could say, 2 variants. There is the single one and the dual-wield one. These have unlimited ammo, and they're just basically the starting gun. They have nothing really going for them. I mean, the only other gun that is secondary-wise that has range is the Magnum, which we'll get into later. You know, but yeah, basically, these are your good old, you know, reliable. This is your Mustang and Sally. These are your just default guns that you get within the game. I mean, technically, you get 1, and you have to get 2 later on. So, unfortunately, this thing is not just default OP. Some campaigns give it to you at the beginning, like Dead Center, but some of the other campaigns will make you have to work for getting the dual version, such as No Mercy, by playing through the campaign a bit. So the default pistols, I gotta put them here. They're just a starting gun. They don't deserve really to be anything but that. Alright, now coming in at #2, this is already going to be an interesting pick because these are some weapons that are going to be like uncommon, but they can be useful. But I'm putting them this low on purpose just because they're more of a novelty item and they're not really practical. So the second weapon that I'm going to be having, this is going to be the chainsaw. I like the chainsaw. It's a badass weapon, don't get me wrong, but the one problem with this thing is that it runs out of time. It runs out of usage because it runs on gas. It's the only melee weapon on Left 4 Dead 2 that will expire. And so the problem is right there is that if you're essentially caught in a jam where you're running out of fuel on the thing, eventually what's going to happen is that it's just going to run out of ammo, and then you're going to be defaulted back to a singular starting pistol. So basically, you're essentially getting a temporary upgrade just to go back to the weakest weapon in the game. And the chainsaw doesn't really last that long. It's just not really worth it. It's a fun novelty item, like I was saying, and it definitely can do work. Like, you can shred a horde with it. But other than the occasional just usage, I almost never see somebody use the chainsaw. Almost never. So the chainsaw is a really good melee weapon for nicheness, but that's really all it's useful for. So the chainsaw is okay, but it's gotta be on the lower tier of guns because it's not really that useful in practicality's sake. Alrighty, now on the contrary, coming in at #3, this is just going to be every other melee weapon in general, because other than the chainsaw, all the other melee weapons are the exact same. They have the exact same range, they have the exact same stats, and they don't do anything different from each other. So instead of picking a certain melee weapon over the other one, I just decide to end up just saying all of them. So this goes sword, the crowbar, the axe, everything. Literally every single melee weapon. And if you guys ever want me to end up doing a ranking the melee weapons video, like cosmetic-wise, even though they function the same, I can definitely do that. So maybe that will be an upcoming video, who knows. But yeah, every single melee weapon just in general as a whole is here, because the best they can do is just be melee weapons. The best bet you're going to want to use is going to be a primary weapon. The melee weapons are good for if you're trapped in a corner, and they definitely are a reliable secondary, but you wouldn't lead with these. These are still a secondary weapon after all, so they're not bad, but these aren't your primary, so we're just going to have to put it down here because there's nowhere else to put it. Alright, and then next is going to be the Magnum. The only reason why the Magnum is going to be considered the best secondary in my eyes is just because it's stronger than the default pistol, and it can definitely end up being like almost like a mini shotgun, and it has more range than all the melee weapons. So if you're in an instance where, like, let's say you run out of primary ammo and you're down to your secondary, this is going to be the one. This is going to be the secondary you're going to want to have on you if you have to use something. Because it's got range, so you don't have to worry about getting close like a melee weapon, but it's stronger than the default pistol. It can insta-kill a boomer. It's really, really good at taking down some of the things like smokers that are at long range. You can use this if you're in a jam to get through a horde that's climbing around and getting in your way. So yeah, the Magnum at the end of the day, it's not, like I said, a primary weapon, but it definitely is like having a mini primary weapon, or essentially being like a shotgun in your back pockets. So that's the Magnum. Let's move on. The next weapon that I'm going to be having, this is actually going to be our very first primary weapon. This is going to be one of the few that you actually will get off spawn, and this is going to end up being the Mini Uzi. So out of all the weapons that I could have picked, why would I pick the Mini Uzi to be the worst primary weapon in the whole entire game? Just like the logic with the other guns, it's just the starting SMG. Other than the exception of, like, let's say the suppressed SMG and the pump shotguns, this is just one of your starting guns. You're always going to find a Mini Uzi as a spawning primary in the campaigns. Almost always. I've never seen a map that has the Mini Uzi not being the primary weapon. It's a very rare exception, but the Mini Uzi is your default SMG, so therefore it's going to be weak, and therefore you're not going to want to keep it. So the Mini Uzi's got to go in the spot. I had to put it somewhere. Then the next gun that I'm going to end up having is going to be the OG pump shotgun. This is once again the other OG weapon that you got from Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. This is just your default shotgun this time, so instead of having with an automatic, you have a shotgun. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, a lot of these are just going to be rankings based off of the sheer willpower or the strongness of them. But yeah, so the original pump shotgun, it's better than the SMG in my eyes, just solely because I like the shotguns better in Left 4 Dead. I feel like they're very versatile and stronger, and you can clear out a horde better. But if you're having an SMG, unfortunately, since it requires more shots to kill, and you can sometimes end up being kind of almost in a way where you're swiping, which is basically like we're trying to shoot a whole bunch of zombies at once, and really all you do is just waste ammo and weaken a lot, where a pump can go kill one guy, kill another guy, etc., etc., etc. So I've always just preferred the shotguns, so I decided to just end up putting the OG pump in here. The next one is going to be the suppressed SMG. The suppressed SMG is a little bit better than the Mini Uzi, but it's still just basically one of the default SMGs. The suppressed SMG, you're going to see pretty damn common, just a lot like the Mini Uzi. It's only a little bit better in my eyes, just solely because of the fact that it's got a little bit more ammo, and the fact that it does end up having a suppressor, and that just basically makes it quieter. And even though that doesn't necessarily do anything for the stats of the gun, it just is nice to not have such a loud gun and not having the muzzle flash everywhere. Because muzzle flash definitely is a key important thing with this thing. I really do like how the suppressed SMG just does not have nearly as much muzzle flash because of its barrel. So that's why I put it in here. And then funnily enough, the next gun that I'm going to have is the Chrome Shotgun. The Chrome Shotgun is another default shotgun that you find almost all the time in the game. But it's once again slightly better than the OG pump shotgun. This is the Left 4 Dead 2's pump shotgun of choice. And so yeah, the Chrome, it's literally just a better version of the original pump shotgun. It's just pretty much just straightforward like that. So yeah guys, now let's move on. Alrighty, so this is actually going to be the very first gun out of all the brand new Last Stand guns that were added into the game that I'm actually going to be having ranked here in this list. And this is, funnily enough, the very first gun I ever happened to find, and I liked it at first, but it was just for the novelty's sake. But this is going to be the new sniper rifle that is based off of the AWP from CSGO. So, the new bolt-action sniper rifle, I don't really particularly like this thing because it's specifically a bolt. I thought it would be cool having a bolt-action sniper rifle, because considering the fact that all the original sniper rifles we've had in the game were semi-autos, I thought having a bolt would be really, really cool. But nope, in hindsight, it is just a novelty item, and it's cool to have it, but I fundamentally do not like using it because I like spamming the hunting rifle and the military sniper. I much rather would use those than use the bolt version of the sniper rifles any day. And also, by the way, just so you know, I'm also going to be ranking the next bolt-action sniper rifle right after this, just because I don't like the idea of the bolt-action sniper rifles. They're fun, don't get me wrong, I'm glad that they're definitely in the game now and that they're a new weapon, but it doesn't mean that I have to end up saying that they're pitch perfect. So yeah, both of the new sniper rifles, unfortunately, are the weakest of the new weapons, and I just have to end up putting them at this spot, just because the semi-auto and the, just more spammier weapons in the game overall are just more useful to me. Just more useful to everybody. Alright, now coming in at the next spot, this is also going to be a brand new gun, and then this is going to be the MP5 SMG. The MP5, funnily enough, is actually another really good gun in this game, but is kind of like a novelty item. The MP5 doesn't spawn in too often, I've noticed, by the way, because since it is technically a new gun and this game is old, I don't know what the spawn rates are on these things, but the MP5, I don't even find that often to begin with. Like, out of all the new guns, I would say the MP5 is like one of, if not the least, of these new guns that I find. I find the new assault rifle all over the place. I find that fairly often. I can find the sniper rifle, the op, pretty often too as well. But the MP5, not so much. The MP5 is a harder gun to find in the game, and fundamentally, it's really just a slightly different version of the suppressed. It's basically the suppressed SMG. It's got the same amount of ammo, 50 rounds, and it works pretty much identical. I mean, there is muzzle flash, and it is new, but if we're talking about just fundamental-wise, it really is just okay. I like the MP5, don't get me wrong, it definitely is the best SMG out of all the games, but I don't think it's necessarily the best gun in the game, if that makes any sense. Alright, so now going on to what I would like to call the novelty or the special primary weapons. This is actually going to be the M60 LMG. So the M60, once again, just like the chainsaw, the reason why I don't put it higher is because it's a temporary weapon. It runs out of ammo, and once it runs out of ammo, you can no longer refill it. It gets the 150 shots. It's one of the strongest weapons in the game, and it fundamentally can kill everything. You can even put special ammo on it. But the problem is like I said, it just runs out of ammo, and when you drop this gun, you're completely screwed. You don't get another primary, you just get nothing. So this is even worse than the chainsaw, because the chainsaw at least gave you a pistol. The M60, you run out of ammo with this thing, you gotta pick up another gun, otherwise you got no primary weapon. So yeah, I put it up high because it definitely is strong, and the secondary, since you will always have one on you, you'll always default have a secondary. It's not like you'll have only one primary and then therefore have no ammo whatsoever in this game or no way to defend yourself. But if there was no guarantee that you would guaranteed have a secondary or at least one weapon on you at all times in this game, I would have to rank this like one of the, if not the lowest gun, just because you would essentially have it where you would be defenseless after like the 150 rounds in like 30 seconds. It would be one of the worst guns if that was the case. But since you don't have a restriction on whether or not you default spawn with a secondary weapon or just have a means to defend yourself right off the bat, I am putting it up here. And right after this is going to be the next one, which is going to be the grenade launcher. The grenade launcher, definitely just like the M60, a absolute dump truck of a weapon. The grenade launcher is one of the strongest weapons in the game, and you funnily enough can put special ammo on it for that one shot, which would be the incendiary and the frag rounds. But the grenade launcher, the problem is with this gun is that it will splash damage you and it can kill you. It hurts you, it hurts your teammates, it hurts you just as much as your enemies if you're not careful with it, and you reload after every single shot. So the idea is boom, reload, and it has a lot of ammo, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves me correctly, I believe this does let you refill ammo on it. I don't remember, correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't used it in forever, but I think you can refill the grenade launcher. And if that's the case, it definitely is good. But let's say you theoretically could not, because I'm not sure and I can't quote it on that. I don't want to rank it on something I'm not sure about. Let's say that does run out of ammo after its use. It has a lot of ammo regardless. So the grenade launcher will give you a crap ton of shots before you do have to move on. But the problem is the fact that you can kill people, especially if you're on a higher difficulty. If you're playing anything higher than advanced mode, you're not going to be able to use this thing. Even if you play advanced mode, you can't really use this thing. I mean, you can, but you have to be a careful player, because if you're not anything like higher than normal mode, you're essentially going to do a big chunk of you and your teammates' damage. And it's only really good in certain scenarios. So that's going to be the grenade launcher. Let's move on to the next weapon. The next weapon is going to be the Scar H. I like the Scar. It's probably my least favorite assault rifle, just solely because I don't like the Scar all too much. I mean, not every single gun in Left 4 Dead is a pure carbon copy of a gun, and sometimes they are their own gun. but the SCAR just feels kind of like just any other generic assault rifle. I don't really like it. It's cool. It's a good gun. It's not a bad gun, but it's just not my favorite. I mean, this list is going to be a mixture of the stats of the gun, just how useful they are, / my influence from the community, and just also my own general opinion. I'm trying to kind of have a blend of all those, so I hope you guys understand. But yeah, the SCAR is my least favorite assault rifle. That's pretty much just all I have to say about it. Alright, the next weapon is going to be the M16. This is going to be my next favorite assault rifle. The M16, it's an OG from the first game. It's really, really good. It's always been a good gun. You know, it was the go-to assault rifle back in Left 4 Dead 1. If we were ranking specifically the Left 4 Dead 1 guns, this would be a different list, and it would definitely be up higher. But it's Left 4 Dead 2 and Left 4 Dead 1, and, you know, together now, so the M16, unfortunately, has some keeping up to do. And it definitely doesn't happen to be king anymore, because if this was Left 4 Dead 1 guns only, this would probably be, like, number 2. But, yeah, since this is Left 4 Dead 2 guns included, it's not necessarily that good anymore. Still a good gun, just can't be number 1. So after the M16, the next gun is end up going to be the model shotgun, or in this case, the original Left 4 Dead 1 semi-auto shotgun. This gun was my favorite gun back in the original Left 4 Dead, because if I had to pick one, this was the go-to gun. I've always liked the shotguns better than the assault rifles in the game, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. They're just more fun, they're overall more useful. And the model shotgun is my favorite gun in Left 4 Dead 1. It's not my favorite in Left 4 Dead 2, or just the series throughout, but it definitely is up there just because of how it functions. It shoots fast, really, really strong, good old reliable, just great shotgun. And I gotta rank it up high just because this thing is a killing machine. It's really, really good. So coming in at the next spot, this is going to be the Spaz 12. The reason why I rank the Spaz 12 just slightly higher than the model is just because of the fact that I've always liked the Spaz in real life. There's literally no difference between the model and the Spaz in Left 4 Dead, other than just the fact that I cosmetically prefer the Spaz. The Spaz in real life is a fun shotgun. Like, let's be honest, it's a really, really cool gun. It's one of the classics that you can think of shotty-wise. And the model, it's fun, but the Spaz just fundamentally is better in terms of just how I feel. It doesn't have a stat difference, it just looks cooler, so that's basically my opinion. This one's subjective, that's why they're almost neck and neck. But yeah, I rank the Spaz 12 here. Let me know what you think. Alrighty, now we're going to be coming down to number 4. We're really getting close to the end here. Number 4, this is going to be one of my favorite guns, but fundamentally, it's not the best, so I have to put it lower than I actually want to. And this is my baby. You guys know who it is. This is going to be the AK-47. This is by far one of, if not my favorite guns in the whole entire game. The AK-47 is my favorite gun of all time. Not my favorite shotgun, but just my favorite gun in general. I like the AK-47 a lot. I love the look of these things. I love the feel of these things. I like the real-life version of this thing. The AK-47 is just a badass, awesome gun that anybody wants to use. I mean, if you're a guy, you've always wanted to shoot this thing. The AK-47 is just by far the funnest and most great gun in this whole entire series. And I would love to make it number 1, but there is just a couple other guns that have to be ranked higher just because they function better and are much more useful just for the sake of the game. So yeah, we're going to be moving on to those now. So coming in at the top 3, this is end up going to be at number 3, the hunting rifle. The hunting rifle is, funnily enough, one of my least favorite guns in all of Left 4 Dead. But I gotta admit, this is a really strong and good gun. The fact that the semi-auto sniper rifle is so good is just because of the fact that it's super strong, super spammy, and super accurate. It's pretty much almost every single good quality in a gun. You've got the range because you have the ability to hip fire from long range, plus you've got the scope so you can take shots with much more accuracy. It's one of the few guns that allows you to aim down sights. So you can actually be able to get your shots off really, really good, and you can get like headshots, and you can get shots down range. But the fact that you have the scope, and also other than the fact that you have the scope, other than the fact that it's pretty damn good hip firing too as well, it shoots the fastest out of any of the sniper rifles other than, of course, the semi-auto. And it just overall is a nice, spammy, accurate, high damage machine. If you had to aim down sights every single time, it would be a lot lower because of the way that Valve games work is, unfortunately, you know, you can only hip fire, which is not necessarily a bad thing in hindsight, but it definitely does lose that creative aspect or the full use of the sniper rifle. But yeah, so even though you can't, like, I guess you could say traditionally snipe, and you're kind of stuck just hip firing and only aiming down sights in niche scenarios, it works for this game and actually makes it a good gun that way. If it actually did function the way that it would make it quote-unquote a traditional sniper, it would actually be fundamentally worse, because Valve games, you pretty much rely on hip fire. But yeah, so that's going to be the hunting rifle. Now let's get to the top two. This is going to be a pretty interesting one, because you guys probably think you know what the answer is, but I promise you it's not. It's actually not. So this is going to be, for number 2, the military sniper rifle. It's just a little bit better than the hunting rifle. The military sniper rifle is by far the best of the original guns pre-updates, because the military sniper rifle does what the hunting rifle does, but better. It came out with basically better features than the original hunting rifle. It has more ammo, so it can get more shots. Still really spammy, still really accurate, still shoots really, really, really fast. And if you're in a situation where you're trying to end up running something like, let's say, an expert campaign, you want this gun in your inventory. It's great for taking out herds, it's great for spamming downrange, it's great for just getting picks when you need to get them just to be able to survive. Because like I said, if you're running in a situation like expert mode, or you need to just happen to get long range on somebody, it's even good in versus in that sense. If you happen to have this gun, you're going to be a shoo-in. But there is, funnily enough, one more gun that we still got to rank, and funnily enough, it is one of the new guns. You guys will like this, how that one of the new guns actually managed to get number 1. So yeah, let's talk about the number 1 spot, shall we? Because this actually shocked me when I found out that this gun could do this, because that's why it's in this spot. So the number 1 gun that I ended up picking for the best Left 4 Dead gun, this is going to end up being the Krig, or in this case, what I've previously called in my video where I was showing all the new guns, the Galil. Basically, this is the brand new assault rifle that's in the game, and this thing is amazing. I love this gun, and I will tell you why. You should also love this gun. This gun is extremely strong. It has a 50-round magazine, making it one of, if not the best assault rifles, because of the fact that it has the most ammo. The AK, which is my second favorite, has only 40, so this gun has a lot more ammo. It has the ability to perform just as well as the AK with its accuracy, its hip fire, its damage. Fundamentally, this gun is really, really good because it has pretty much all the stats. But here's also another thing that I really like about this gun. It shoots hella fast. Out of all the assault rifles, this gun shoots extremely fast. This thing is almost like a SMG in terms of its shooting speed, and it shoots extremely fast. It's like basically a bullet hose. This thing will get you led down range, and it will allow you to kill something like a hunter or a boomer or a smoker absolutely with zero issue. I love this thing, and the thing that put it at number 1 is this last feature, which is going to be the scope. You may have thought that the scope didn't do anything and it was for just cosmetic purposes, but I'm going to be telling you that is not the case, because the scope actually works on this assault rifle, and as well, you can see around you. When you use this scope by putting in your main scroll wheel button, which would be my button, I don't know what your control layer would be, but basically the default button for me is the scroll wheel. When you push that button in and you activate that scope, it is absolutely crystal clear. It is basically just tight hipfire spread with the range of a sniper scope, and it is just amazing. You are basically getting a fully automatic assault rifle with the most amount of ammo and the fastest fire rate that I've ever seen, with the ability to end up having zoomed in, clear hipfire spread. What else could you want from a gun in Left 4 Dead? I mean, this fundamentally is basically the perfect gun. I love this thing. I'm so glad that they finally add something like this into the game, and I'm glad that I have one of my new favorite guns. But yeah, guys, this is going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys ended up enjoying. This was us ranking all the guns in Left 4 Dead, and I hope you ended up enjoying. If you ended up enjoying, please consider dropping a like, comment, and subscribe. But yeah, guys, that is it, and I hope you guys enjoyed another YouTube video for the most unique YouTuber you guys will ever see. Peace out, guys.